All right, this video, we got this big rivalry between Edmonton and Calgary that's been going on since the beginning of time in this province. And I'm going to address what's better, Edmonton or Calgary. I'm going to be very objective about this because I'm qualified for this video. I've lived half my life in Edmonton and the other half in Calgary. So nobody is better equipped to talk about these two cities than I am. So I hope you enjoy this video. All right, the first major comparison is kind of an obvious one, and that is the cost of living, especially when it comes to real estate prices. Like, do you know in Edmonton right now, here it is, the summer of 2023, you can still get a nice detached house in Edmonton for under $400,000. Like, we're talking $350 to $400 all day long. You can get a nice house in Edmonton in a variety of different locations in Edmonton. Well, guess what? That's almost impossible in Calgary. So your cost of living and your cost of a home in Calgary is much higher. So you could definitely, from a financial position, you can have a really good quality of life in Edmonton because you're going to have more money to spend on other things. So comparison number two is the weather. And this is actually a funny thing because I quite often call my mother, who still lives in Edmonton, and it'd be in the middle of winter, and I'll call her up and say, Mom, it's pretty warm here in Calgary today. How's it in Edmonton? She'll say, oh, it's the same. I'm like, no, Mom, it's not the same. I've looked at the temperature. Edmonton's minus 14, Calgary's only minus 8. Well, she says, that's pretty close. It's not close, okay? There is a difference when it comes to weather. Calgary, I don't care, it is warmer here. I have lived half my life in Edmonton. It is warmer in Calgary by hands down. I don't even know how many times I've gotten on that highway to the QEW, drove like a maniac up there with all the other maniacs that drive that highway in the wintertime. And I left Calgary at minus 10 and I got to Edmonton and it's minus 17. And I'm getting out of my car going, it's cold here. I remember when I was living on an acreage north of Edmonton, if we missed the bus, Mom, you did it. You made us drive or walk to school. We had to walk like 5 miles. My kids don't believe me. No, it wasn't uphill both ways, but it was a long ways regardless. It was minus 30, minus 35. Edmonton gets those kind of temperatures. It lasts for like a month, okay? Calgary does get it, but we typically get a Chinook that blows in and warms it all up, usually within a matter of days. Rarely do I see it last a week. But Edmonton, you just get socked in and it's just cold, it's bitterly cold. And that's something you just have to deal with in Edmonton. When I grew up in that, I didn't know any better. I used to go and play hockey outside in minus 30 with frozen toes. I didn't realize that that wasn't normal. I just went ahead and did it. So we went and played hockey outside in that weather. I got to Calgary and I thought, wow, I can actually go inside and play hockey and just even wear a light jacket. This is amazing. So weather is a factor. Hey, if you do like these videos, just go ahead and hit that like button. You can subscribe, of course, and you can get notified every time I do one of these videos because I do them every week and I think you're going to like them if you just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. All right, so this comparison number 4, there's this white-collared town of Calgary versus the blue-collared town of Edmonton. And that's been kind of a bantering that's been going back and forth for a really long time. And arguably, look, there's a lot of white-collared people in Edmonton, but it is primarily known as to be more of a blue-collar town, meaning that there's a lot more jobs like in trades and those type of jobs in Edmonton than there is in Calgary. So a little history for you. We all know that Alberta, really a driving factor to our entire economy to this day is oil and gas, right? Well, they put a lot of the head offices in Calgary, and so that brought a lot of the engineers and the accountants and all the CFOs and all those type of people all ended up in Calgary. So that's why we've got these massive office towers in Calgary, which, by the way, a lot of them are empty now because of COVID. But I'll just digress for a second in saying that. But Edmonton, on the other hand, you notice even as you drive into Edmonton, you notice on both sides of the highway, there's all kinds of oil service companies. There's all kinds of equipment. And so there's all those kinds of jobs that are available in Edmonton. And the one thing about it is, this is something that you should really know. When the economy actually starts to drift off and it starts to go the other direction, the direction none of us like it to go, You know, some of the first people to get fired in Calgary are the engineers. I've seen it. I mean, I've seen them just wipe out entire departments because of the white-collared people. They're very, very vulnerable to these shifts in oil prices. But guess what? All those people up in Edmonton that are doing all those service jobs, they still need those people. They don't get rid of those people as much. So your job security in Edmonton is actually, for that standpoint, is actually a little better than Calgary. So that's some comforting news if you definitely are in the trades or you're looking at working in an environment where you want to have that stable type of environment and a job that probably won't ever go away. All right, comparison 5 is the active lifestyle. Well, with Edmonton, look, you're just limited. Edmonton's flat. We don't have mountains nearby. We don't have rolling hills. So there is limited as what you can do. The river valley in Edmonton's kind of cool. You know, you can mountain bike in there. There's all kinds of hiking paths around the river valley. It's quite actually beautiful down there. But you know, overall, you're just limited to the kind of outdoor activities you can do. There is a lot of activities as far as indoor in Edmonton as well. There's all kinds of, different stadiums and all kinds of gyms that you can go to. And, I mean, as far as indoor sports go, Edmonton's loaded with this, so it's good. Calgary, on the other hand, we do have opportunities to do a little more outdoor. You know, we got the mountains here. We have skiing that's here, and even our COP is better than the best that Edmonton has, which is, by the way, Rabbit Hill. Not to really, rag on you, Rabbit Hill, but it's not too exciting there. Even our COP is a little bit better. So we just have a lot more outdoor activities that are available in Calgary. So if you are someone that's really active and you like to do stuff outside, you probably would find Calgary to be a better option than Edmonton. Our last comparison is nightlife, bars, restaurants, that sort of thing. Well, you won't believe it, but Edmonton is actually loaded with this. They have a tremendous nightlife there. I love White Avenue in Edmonton. I love Old Strathcona. That whole area on that part of town is fantastic. There's lots to do. They've got a lot of arts and fashion in Edmonton. They really do embrace that. So if you're really into that kind of thing, there's a whole lot going on. They've got the Mutart Conservatory, pretty cool thing to go and visit. So I think what Edmonton did is they were smart. Even going back to West Edmonton Mall back in the early 80s, they thought, hey, it's going to be cold in the wintertime. We're going to have stuff to do inside. And Edmonton's done a really good job of that. I would say slightly better than Calgary, slightly better, because that being said, let's not make it sound like Calgary doesn't offer a lot of this too. They do. I mean, we have Stephen Avenue, we have the Red Mile, and we do have a lot of bars and restaurants here as well, and good nightlife. But if I was to just look at the two, the amount of restaurants, the amount of nightlife, I would actually say Edmonton, arguably slightly better. Calgarians, don't shoot me for this, but again, I'm the authority on this, right? I lived there half my life, so I've got to say. So I'm just saying slightly better. But again, I don't want to make it sound like we don't have that in Calgary, because we really do have an awesome nightlife and restaurant scene in Calgary, and there's actually some pretty nice restaurants here. Once again, if you found this video to be really helpful and, bantering back and forth about Edmonton, Calgary, it's actually been a lot of fun doing this video, kind of reminiscing about the both cities and giving you this information. But, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like my video, hit the bell button if you want to be notified, because I have all kinds of interesting topics every week.